Have you ever wondered what your pets get up to when you're not in the house? If so, we have the solution.
Hi, welcome to the Mammoth Tech Show. I'm Jeff.
I'm Frankie.
And today we're going to look at little cameras that you can set up in your house to keep an eye on what's going on whilst you're away. So, what ones have we got to look at today?
Our camera of choice, and we'll go into the reasons of why that is in this video, is the TP-Link Tapo C200 camera.
These cameras are little IP cameras that you connect up inside your house, and then you can monitor them remotely on your mobile phone. And there's quite a lot of choice in this area. There's very expensive ones down to really cheap, obscure brand stuff. This is sort of in the middle-ish.
Yes, it's sort of in the middle price-wise, but it's a brand that you've heard of, which is one of the reasons why we chose it.
Yes, we have had cameras like this in the past, and although the cheap cameras may seem attractive, of course the other end of this is the software. It isn't just the hardware. You've got to consider the software as well, and if the little app that runs and allows you to view the software is a bit flaky, then your entire experience is going to be rubbish, basically, no matter how good the quality of the video is.
Yes.
If the quality of the app is, just isn't up to it,
Yeah.
if it doesn't allow you, if it keeps crashing or doesn't allow you to view the images properly, then
Or
it's a wasted.
Change your Wi-Fi network when you get new Wi-Fi.
Or whatever, if it's not very good, it's going to damage the entire experience. So that's one of the benefits of going for a more well-known brand like TP-Link, that you'll get more, hopefully, that's the idea anyway, hopefully you'll get a more robust app experience.
Yes.
And also integration into the rest of the items, if you happen to have things like their IP activated plugs or things like that,
yes.
Then you can use the whole thing like that.
Yeah, and you can do it all from one app as well. Then,
yes,
so if you've got one ecosystem, you can do that. You can operate them all and keep an eye on them all from one app, and it's just so much easier.
Yeah, of course, that's kind of what they're hoping for. You buy one, you like it, and then you continue to buy.
Because that was something that I wanted to take into consideration, because I didn't want to keep setting up accounts left, right and centre for different products, and we already had a TP-Link account for an old product that we had, so that was something else I took into account, that I already had an account, so I didn't have to set another one up.
So these ones aren't the bottom of the range ones. They can get little stick-up static cameras from TP-Link. These do actually have features that those don't.
Yes, so we can't do it at the moment because it's obviously not plugged in, but this one will pan up and down, but it will also spin around on its horizontal axis by 360 degrees. So it gives you quite a good range of where you place it. You can obviously then use the app again. You can go into the app and you can turn it live once you're in the live view remotely. So if you wanted to keep an eye on something, so yes, and so that's one of the reasons why I wanted these, was because you can actually choose your angle. So the little stick-up cams are great if you just want to be fixed on one point. But for what we wanted, which is to keep an eye on a potentially moving target, we can use the app to spin around on this.
And speaking of moving targets, whilst testing the camera whilst we were out, I did spot him going past whilst it was live, because it sent a notification of movement. I was able to bring it up immediately and saw old Zeus wandering by. And I was able to use the pan functions, the pan and tilt functions, to track him as he was walking by. And it was sufficiently reactive enough, and there was sufficiently not so much lag, that I was able to actually keep up with him and keep him in view as he wandered by.
Oh, cool.
And so if there was a lot of lag in the system, that wouldn't have allowed any of you just gone trundled out of shot.
Yes.
But yeah, that I was surprised it is that responsive.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, I haven't tried doing that, but you do get, as Jeff just pointed out, you do get motion detection whenever anything walks by the camera. So if you've got them switched on all the time in the house, it might be an idea to switch the motion detection alerts off. Otherwise, your phone just keeps buzzing every time you walk past it, which can get slightly annoying. But they are useful for when you want to monitor them remotely. But again, that's all things you can turn on and off in the app. So you can turn on and off the motion detection completely if you don't want it to detect motion, or you can keep the motion detection on and just not have alerts, or you can turn the alerts on and off.
And recording as well.
Yes, so that leads us on to the other major selling point as to why we went for these cameras, is that they have internal SD card storage.
Yeah. Some of the other ones from the Ring and other
the
Nest and that sort of thing, they have lots of nice fancy features. But if you want to be able to store those images, they never have internal storage.
You have to subscribe to their cloud storage systems, which is a monthly or annual fee. But with these, you can have an internal SD card in every single one of your cameras, and you can record onto your own storage.
Yeah, there are options on that. There is a plan that you can go with that allows you to have off-site remote storage, because that is an important thing with pets, especially if you've been in the house a lot recently over the last couple of years and you're starting to go out again. Is your cat or dog fretting whilst you've gone out? Is it displaying any signs of stress or anything like that? Luckily, ours isn't.
Yes, no, ours, as long as it's sunny outside, Zeus will just sleep in the sun. But it was, we got Zeus during lockdown. So he is a lockdown cat. He's just used to us being around all of the time. And we have started going back into the office. And as Jeff said, I wanted to just make sure that it wasn't stressing him out. So if he was stressed out, potentially we could make arrangements for someone to come in the middle of the day and see him or something. But as it turns out, we don't need to, because he's not stressed in the slightest that we're not there.
So putting the SD card in is it's a little bit interesting. You have to position the camera just so. There's some footage here showing it moving into place, and that allows you to insert the little micro SD card and store the footage. If you want lots of footage, then there is a choice, because you can choose between either 720p or 1080. 1080 is the highest this goes. So, but if you wanted to stretch a bit more onto that card, then you could go 720 if you wanted to.
Yeah, and you can also turn loop recording on and off, can't you?
Yes, like a dash cam, it does loop recording. So once it reaches the end of the capacity of the card, it'll start recording over the oldest recordings and just keep looping round and round like a dash cam does. Or you can just have it going up to the end and just stopping. If, for example, if you didn't want under any circumstance any of the footage to be deleted, I suppose you could whack in a massive big one, change it regularly, swap it around between two, and then
I think there is a limit to the size of the SD card, but it's like 128 gig or something. I can't remember.
You could stick with a big one in and just sort of swap them in daily or something like that. If you didn't want anything to wipe it, there's some important reason for that. But I suspect for most people they would have it on loop.
Yes.
So let's have a comparison of the video. Here we are using our normal DJI action camera that we usually use for the show. Obviously, this is not a completely fair comparison. The Tapo camera is at least a quarter of the price of the DJI action camera. The DJI's optics and sensors will be of a much higher quality, but it does give you a bit of a comparison. And here are some more shots from the Tapo.
One of the other good things about this camera is it's got night vision, I believe, as well. So you can see in the dark.
Yeah, it's so that clicks in. You get literally a little click when they go on.
And then there's two little lights that are on by the lens. You can't quite see the bottom one, but they will turn red when it clicks in.
Little infrared spotlights, I think, something like that.
Yes.
And they'll allow it to work at night. Drawbacks, I think the only one that really pops to mind is that it uses a little proprietary barrel plug for power rather than
USB.
Type-C or USB or anything like that. I suspect, USB Type-C would have been the best. Micro plugs can be a bit flaky if you plug them in and out on a lot. Barrel's not too bad. It just means it's a unique little wall wart that you shouldn't lose, otherwise you can't use that.
Yes.
So, anyway, it's not that much of a...
It's not that much of a faff. I mean, the thing with these cameras is more than likely you're going to just plug them in where you want them and leave them in place. I think one of the other, to this model and some of the other models, the pan and tilt models, the other option you have with them is I think you can mount them upside down.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to ceiling mount them, there's another. It all comes in the box, but there's another mounting kit that you can buy, and it will twist in, and then within the app you can just invert the image. But you can tuck it in a corner out the way if you want to look at a whole room, and it will just hang like that.
Screw it to the underside of a shelf or something like that.
Yes. But we just have ours sat on the side like that, and it provides us with enough for what we want.
Ooh, another feature that we've tested is the fact that you can, if you wanted to, broadcast your voice out of there to do to have a little conversation with the person that you've just discovered wandering around in your house or whatever it is.
Yes.
Or I suppose talk to your animal, although that would probably just confuse it. But you can, and I've tried it. And how did you find the quality of the sound?
It was very good. I would have appreciated some warning that your voice is going to come out of nowhere.
Excellent for pranks.
Because I was just standing in a completely different room, and then I just had Jeff talking to me, and I couldn't figure out where he was until I figured that he was coming out of the camera. So yes, I mean it was very clear, and there wasn't any delay, there wasn't any echo, and yes, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
A useful feature. So you can use it as a little intercom if you've got cameras upstairs and downstairs, just to talk to each other, so you don't have to shout.
If you had for example, if you just had set one up in an elderly relative's house, obviously with their consent also.
Yes.
And you could use it to just keep half an eye on them, and you could then use it to talk to them and scare a bit Jesus out of them every so often.
Just make sure they're alive.
Just make sure that Make sure they know. But yeah, you could, if they know that, if they wanted you, they could shout and then you'd hear it and then you'd be able to talk to them maybe.
Yes.
An alternative use.
Yeah. So overall, I think... Oh, yep, so the little speaker is there at the back.
Yeah.
Ta-da, there's a little speaker grill.
Exactly.
It also, on the side of the box here, it has a QR code so that you know you're downloading the right app.
Good point.
Which is always... I find actually more and more now that that's quite a useful thing to have, because a lot of apps
many similarly named
are
apps.
Similarly named, and
Yeah.
I always get a bit worried that I'm downloading the correct one for the product that I've bought. So more and more I am using these QR codes to make sure, because it will take you straight to the right app.
Another important feature nowadays is integration with our little home assistants that we have dotted around Google or the Echo devices, and yet this one has it, and it does work rather well. You just say to it, open whatever you've named the camera or the position, and it pops up on your little Echo Show or whatever, and there you go.
Yes.
So overall, we're very pleased with our little Tapo, whatever it is, cameras.
Yes, definitely. I was extremely impressed with how easy they were to set up.
Yeah.
We've got two cameras downstairs, and I think they were set up, both of them, within about 5 or 10 minutes. We had them both fully set up and working.
Yeah.
And once you've downloaded the app, then obviously you just click add camera, and you can add as many cameras as you like, and the app talks you through everything step by step once you've plugged the camera in, so you don't even have to faff with another instruction manual.
Yeah, it's a good app. It's pretty easy to use. It performs well. It's just a nice solid app experience. Like you say, easy to set up. So yeah, a good recommendation there.
Yes. I thoroughly recommend it.
One thing you may want to bear in mind, it does use the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi.
Yes.
So make sure your router supports that. A lot of these ones use that. I think it gets further than the 5G. 5G supports more data, 2.4 just gets slightly further, I believe, is the way around it works. But yeah, make sure that your router supports 2.4.
Yes.
And not only do they do the little smaller indoor cameras, there are options for outdoor cameras as well.
Yes, and the good thing with the outdoor cameras, again, is that you can use your own internal storage.
Yeah.
And not have to subscribe to any of the subscription services if you don't want to.
Obviously, you'd need to have it in a position where you could get up to and retrieve that SD card if you stuck it in the right up in the eaves of your house.
Yes, that's actually a very good point that hadn't occurred to me.
But that's our experience with these ones. Do you have any other experiences with different models? Would you have a different recommendation? Let us know in the comments. It could be useful for someone watching the video to have a bit of comparison. And if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, because it does really help the channel. And if you'd like to see more from us, why not subscribe? So that was the Tapo wireless camera. This is the Mammoth Tech Show. I've been Jeff.
I've been Frankie.
And you've been very kind to watch. Thank you very much.